DraftKings this morning, right? So DraftKings, former SPAC, they announced a deal with Dish Network. So that is going DraftKings Sportsbook and daily fantasy games directly to Dish Network customers nationwide. Bets and contests can be initiated directly on the television. This will begin with Dish TV's Hopper platform and then expand across other Dish brands like Sling TV and Boost Mobile. And then of note, DraftKings will host a virtual investor day on March 9th.
Another one that I'd like to talk about is, of course, that partnership. I think that partnership's interesting, just because we've talked about on this show about Fubo and kind of their deal with Balto. But, one thing that I'd pay attention to Dish is Ling, because that's really where I pay attention to Dish, and I think they have the best advantage. Their streaming service that they actually have under their belt is actually one of the best, I think. It's the one that I choose just because if you look at the overall packages that they offer, hey, you can get pretty good TV for about $50, and there's not many places that you can get TV for $50. So at least comparable to Fubo, I would say that it was the cheaper and better quality service. So I'm going to be paying attention to how this happens from this movement on. Not only in Dish, guys, let's start looking at the whole streaming industry and seeing if they keep blending with the sports betting industry. Because if that keeps happening, we can find other plays in the industry before the catalyst actually comes. And that's what I always try to do, guys, is try to find the story and try to be in line with the catalyst so that you can run into maybe one of those catalysts with some good technical timing. And that's really what the story strategy is all about. So we'll take a look at this. It's interesting. What do you think, Chris, as these streaming services dip their toes in some betting content?
Yeah, I wanted to get into this because I think we've had some good conversations about Fubo before, and then also DraftKings, right, being, the kind of the market leader as far as brand awareness in the most states. So, Fubo reported earnings last night, right? And they talked about their sports betting, plan. And they talked about laying out, daily games in the third quarter and then launching with sports betting in the fourth quarter. And then here swoops in DraftKings and Dish Network the next morning to kind of steal their thunder. And to me, I do own some shares of Fubo. I just want to get that out there. So to me, Fubo has a good opportunity. And I was looking forward to that fourth quarter. But I think DraftKings and Dish now are going to beat them to actually having the product out there. And I wonder if that's going to hurt Fubo at all as far as that possible first mover advantage. And, like you said with Dish, Sling TV, I think is the key here. And, look to some of those other streaming plays. And the other thing that we've seen, right, with sports betting companies is a lot of them partnering, right, with casinos. And then they started partnering with media companies, right? So we saw, deals done with ESPN. We saw, of course, Penn National do the deal with Barstool Sports. Do we get the synergies now where Dish Network and DraftKings do this partnership? Who does FanDuel go after? Do they look to partner with the streaming company? Because that's the key here, right? And I wrote an article this morning, and one of the keys is, and I can say this personally, right, as someone who can bet legally on sports in Michigan now, if you bet on a sport, you're more likely to watch the sporting event. So if you're Dish Network and you can have people betting on sports directly on your platform, you're more likely to see people engaged, watching more content, watching longer content, which means more ad revenue. It means keeping loyal subscribers, and it means possibly getting subscribers from rivals. So to me, I still think Fubo has a huge opportunity because they already have a plan in place to launch this year. And I think maybe someone will look to partner with them, right? And otherwise, we're going to see more deals done. I think this was the starting point here with the domino effect coming to sports betting and media.
Hey, like always on SPACs Attack, we don't only just try to teach you about levels. We try to talk about a lot of times trends, because trends are what get these things to start moving. A lot of times you're going to see it. I pay attention to trends all the time, whether it be social trends or even just looking at Google Analytics. Look at Google Trend Analytics, guys. See what's moving. See where it's moving. A little bit later today with the Katje interview, one thing that Katje did was she actually looked at Google Trend data on Tesla, and she looked at the Google Trend data for the truck, the Cybertruck, right? And so she looked at it, and she looked at it in the middle section of the United States. How is the Midwest kind of feeling? Are they going to be buying this truck? And those are the things that you guys can be doing the same thing. Look for those trends, and then you can step in front of the trend and then look for maybe, hey, okay, so what are the leaders? Who could they team up with? What are the options? And then that's how you start diversifying your attack into kind of this trend, this story.